And as we looked at the top 10 players in these NBA finals, there's a lot more Knicks on here higher rated than there are Spurs. But then if you were to go after the top 10 and you did a top 20, it would be like 15 Spurs, 5 Knicks. Seriously, that's just not exact, probably like 13-7, I would say. That's just how much deeper the Spurs are. But the Knicks starting five, I would argue, is better than the Spurs starting five going into this series. Like OG Anunoby is better than Devin Vassell. You have Karl Anthony Towns obviously isn't better than Victor Wembanyama, but I'm taking Brunson. I'm not taking Josh Hart over Stephon Castle, but it's not like a layup. And then OG Anunoby's a dog as well. So I really do like the Knicks full starting five, but the Spurs have the best player in this series, and I think there is a gap between Wemby and Jalen Brunson. Anybody that'll tell you different is just a liar. But anyway, let's just get into these top 10 guys, right? Top 10 guys. Number 10, I have Devin Vassell, 10th best player in these playoffs. Great defender on the wing. He's going to have to be great to limit Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, two guys that are obviously in this top 10 that have been terrific. Shooting the basketball, especially over the last two series for Mikal Bridges. He needs to lock those guys up, make sure they don't have monster games, make sure they aren't shooting 50%, 60% from beyond the arc in order for the Spurs to dominate this series the way that they can, because OG and Mikal Bridges have been the greatest role players. I don't even call them role players because they're more than that, but in this Knicks team, everybody's just been a star in their role, and their role has been 3 and D, at least more for Anunoby than Bridges, because Bridges hasn't even shot the three ball well. He's just not missing from the mid range. He's not missing attacking the rim, especially after this Hawks series. He's been unbelievable. Devin Vassell is going to have to limit those guys efficiency wise in this series, and I think he'll be able to do it. He's one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. He led the Spurs in steals so far in this playoffs, and he's been really efficient from three, shooting about 35%. So Devin Vassell falls in at number 10. At number 9, I have Josh Hart, who I think is one of the most underappreciated players on this New York Knicks team. Maybe I have a soft spot for Josh Hart because he could be a player comp of mine when I'm playing at the Rec. I'm not going to score a lot. Actually, you can't call him a player comp because he did have like 5 threes in a game. I've never had 5 threes in a game in my entire life. But either way, one of the most underappreciated players on the New York Knicks. And every championship team or a team that goes on a deep playoff run has a guy like Josh Hart who's going to get you those extra possessions, who's going to get a clutch loose ball, who's going to be a pest and rattle the other team's primary ball handler with his physicality, his tenacity, and his just energy that he brings on the defensive side of the basketball. And he's going to, throughout these playoffs, out of the two teams remaining, Josh Hart's averages the third most rebounds per game. And Castle is a good rebounder. Dylan Harper is a good rebounder. De'Aaron, like they're not like they don't not crash the glass. But Josh Hart's averaging almost 9 boards a game in these playoffs. Every championship team has had a guy like this. The Thunder had Caruso or Dort. The Thunder have a million of these types of guys. They're just scrappy, good defenders. The Pacers last year had a guy like TJ McConnell, although he didn't really have the role that Josh Hart has. Still, the Boston Celtics with Peyton Pritchard, the Denver Nuggets with Bruce Brown. I mean, Draymond Green made a gazillion dollars in this type of role, this hustle role, this extra not showing up in the box score impact that these players can have on playoff series and on teams' championship aspirations. And Josh Hart has embodied that role. He's been unbelievable. Oh, and he can also just erupt for 26 at any random given time. And that's what he did in game 2 against Cleveland when he made 5 threes. So Josh Hart at number 9. And then I have De'Aaron Fox at 8, Dylan Harper at 7. And obviously, this is a hot take saying that Dylan Harper is better than De'Aaron Fox, but I just feel like his buckets have meant so much more. They've been way more timely. He's way more efficient than De'Aaron Fox is, but it's still good to have a veteran presence in a backcourt with a 20-year-old and 23-year-old in Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper that can kind of settle things down and run the offense. And that's been reflected in the turnover numbers. Stephon Castle's averaging almost 4 turnovers per game. Dylan Harper averages 0.2 less turnovers per game in these playoffs than De'Aaron Fox does, but De'Aaron Fox is playing 7 more minutes per game. So I think De'Aaron Fox has been a really good, calm tempo, settle things down. But Dylan Harper has just been way more efficient scoring the basketball. It seems like he's been more clutch than De'Aaron Fox has been, and he has displayed so much poise for a guy that's just 20 years old. That is insanity. I understand he isn't the starter, but Dylan Harper's buckets just feel way louder. I don't know how to describe it, way more meaningful than De'Aaron Fox's. And Harper was 35% from 3 in the OKC series, De'Aaron Fox was 36% from the field in the OKC series. Like, Dylan Harper has been just a way more efficient scorer, and even 1 for 7 from 3 in game 1, right? So I like Dylan Harper slightly over De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, that's a hot take because Fox is like an 8-year vet, and Dylan Harper is a rookie who's just 20 years old. But I swear he's been more impactful in these playoffs than De'Aaron Fox has been. And I almost put Dylan Harper over Mikal Bridges, but that would be ludicrous. That's where I'd have to draw the line and head to the insane asylum. And I think you can rate these next 3 guys however you want them, because I do have Stephon Castle over Mikal Bridges, but I have Karl Anthony Towns over Stephon Castle. I almost had Castle over Cat, but then again, I had to rein it in, not be a prisoner of the moment. Karl Anthony Towns is better at basketball than Stephon Castle is right now. Let's not be crazy. Okay, let's not be crazy. But Mikal Bridges at 6, Castle at 5, because I think Stephon Castle was terrific defensively against one of the most efficient scorers this league has ever seen in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, holding him to just 40% from the field, which was the second lowest in a playoff series in SGA's career, in the most meaningful series of SGA's career. That's nasty. And he does have a turnover bug a little bit, but he has been incredible. Just an energy jolt whether he's dunking on Hartenstein's head or whether he's getting a clutch steal. 18 points per game, and he's not even shooting the 3 well, 23% from beyond the arc against the Thunder. He's a freak athlete. The turnovers are an issue. The turnovers are absolutely an issue, but I feel like he's been more impactful for San Antonio than Mikal Bridges has been for the New York Knicks, who struggled. Like, Mikal Bridges struggled against the Atlanta Hawks, but since then, he's been nasty. I mean, he shot 63% from the field against Philly, 57% from the field against Cleveland. But I do think there's a correlation between the Atlanta Hawks having a top 10 net rated defense with good wing defenders, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and then playing 2 below average, below the median net rated defenses in the Cavs and the Sixers, where his primary defender is Quentin Grimes, and not even Quentin, I don't even who even was it for the Sixers? And oh my gosh, my brain. And Dean Wade, right? Like, bad wing defenders. I think there's correlation there between Mikal Bridges' efficiency and the mid defenses he was playing. Well, with Devin Vassell on him, I think it's going to be a whole different ball game in this series. So I am punishing Mikal Bridges for his performance in that Hawks series. He was just abysmal for the first 5 games. But you could argue him over Castle. I wouldn't be mad at you one bit. And then I do have Cat better than both of these guys at 4. So just to remind, I have Mikal Bridges at 6. Stephon Castle at 5, Karl Anthony Towns at 4. I have Cat at 4 because he has been terrific all playoffs, and it's been in a reduced role that he's accustomed to over his career, and that is like the primary, I'm going to go get buckets, one of the most skilled big men of this generation. But again, his scoring numbers are down, his rebounding numbers are up, and he's just been a star in his role. And again, he's been really, really efficient. 61% from the field versus Philly, 54% from the field against Cleveland, 48% from 3, almost 49% from beyond the arc. And he's not as good a defender as Bridges, but the skill/size offensively is a bigger gap between, like, his ceiling offensively is way higher than Bridges' ceiling offensively. And I think that gap is wider between where Mikal Bridges is defensively and where Karl Anthony Towns is defensively. And I think Cat has an ability to really take over a game and take over a series. I don't know if Bridges has that ability where he can give you a good game or two. He can come up with a clutch steal or two like he did against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference semis last year. But I trust Cat as an offensive option way more. Like, hypothetically, if Jalen Brunson were to go down, would you want the ball in Cat's hands or would you want the ball in Mikal Bridges' hands to lead this Knicks team? God forbid we don't want that happening, so knock on wood. But just for the sake of the argument, I feel like you'd want it in Cat's hands. And you can't put Stephon Castle over Cat. He just hasn't done enough in this league yet. But again, if you did, I listen. There are people that be way madder at you than I would. I'm just saying. Number 3, OG Anunoby. I have OG Anunoby over Karl Anthony Towns because he is the best defender on the New York Knicks, and he has been one of the best scorers for the New York Knicks in these playoffs as well, not including his series against the Sixers, where he wasn't even awful. He was just banged up, but he has been on. He's the best defender not named Victor Wembanyama in this series. The defensive ability and versatility is why I have him over Mikal, because he is a better defender, and he's just been a better scorer as well. He's been an absolute bucket. He was going off in the Hawks series, got banged up. We saw the offensive production fall off a little bit, but OG's shooting almost 50% from 3. He has averaged a career-high 19 points per game in this playoffs, while also being the best defender for the Knicks. He has to be here. And then it's Brunson and Wemby, obviously, at the 2 and at the 1 spot. if you don't have Jalen Brunson as your top 10 player in the NBA at this point, I don't know what more you need to see. You just must value the regular season more than you do the playoffs. And if that's your logic, you're an absolute square because Jalen Brunson has been one of the best playoff risers, one of the best clutch players we have seen over the past 3, 4 seasons. He has been unbelievable down the stretch. He was the best clutch player in the year a year ago in the league a year ago. He was clutch against like that comeback in game two or in game one against Cleveland, where he just took over and was hunting Harden. And everybody's giving Harden a lot of shit for that. I feel like Harden's defense was honestly decent. Like he was every shot Jalen Brunson made for the most part when he went on that run was highly contested. It's just he's a more skilled player. And his ability to score around the basket at 6'2", his craftiness, his shiftiness, it's ridiculous. I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off against a 7'4" Victor Wembanyama, who's obviously the best player in the NBA Finals. But if there's any small guard that can do it with, like, it's like his quick release and where he puts it off the glass where defenders can't get it. Although there's really nowhere you can put it off the glass where Victor Wembanyama won't snatch before. And so it's going to be an interesting thing to see. They haven't really played. No, but I mean, they played Evan Mobley, who's one of the best rim protectors in the league, and he was still able to get to the rim. Not to mention his shot creating, his ability to get to the free throw line, his ability to play make, which is way underrated. Like the Knicks offense isn't having like all of their role players aren't shooting the efficient, ridiculously efficient shooting splits that they are if their point guard isn't giving them really good opportunities and really good looks like he has been. Now, a lot of that does have to do with them playing bad defenses, and the Spurs defense is nowhere near as bad or as weak as the Sixers and the Cavs are. But you still have to give credit to Jalen Brunson for how efficient the rest of the players on the Knicks have been shooting. They've also been shooting really well, quite frankly. But third leading scorer in the playoffs, and he has not played as many minutes as minutes per game as Cade and SGA have because the Knicks have just been blowing people out in the Eastern Conference, especially in closeout games. He played 15 minutes in the closeout game against Cleveland. I think it's 15. That sounds really low to be saying on here, honestly. Let me double check that. But either way, the point still remains. He has just been subbing him, like he has been on the bench way more than Cade was on the bench for Detroit and way more than SGA was on the bench for Oklahoma City because they've just been blowing teams out way more, which could also counterpoint. The Spurs have been in way more. I know, but I'm not even going to go there. Oh, no, he played 30 minutes. He had 15 points. I don't know where I got 15 minutes from. But either way, 30 minutes is ridiculous low. He played 28 minutes in the closeout game against Philadelphia. He played 29 minutes in the closeout game against Atlanta. Yeah, I thought 15 points sounded, or 15 minutes sounded stupid. He had 15 points in the closeout game, 31 minutes played. When he's averaging 40 minutes a game throughout the entirety of the Cavs series, he averaged 35 minutes a game in the two other series, but he's just playing way less minutes than SGA or Cade did, and he's still third in the NBA in these playoffs in scoring. He has been incredible. He's not in your top 10. He's better than Jason Tatum. I don't care. I do. I'm not going to go there yet. That's a conversation for a different day. Jason Tatum stays rent free in my head. I'm out of water, whatever. All right. Number one, Victor Wembanyama, easily the best player in the series, 28-10 in the Western Conference Finals. He is unbelievable. Best defender I've ever seen. We could talk about Wemby for days. He's really only had two bad offensive games in these playoffs, and he's still had 20 in one of them. The Knicks don't have a better guy to guard Wemby than the T-Wolves did with Rudy Gobert or freaking popcorn kernel in my mouth, and it was bothering me. Then the Thunder did in Chet. And Mitchell Robinson is a solid defender. He is athletic. He has the size to maybe lower Wemby's efficiency. But then it's the cat and mouse game. We're like, all right, if we have Mitchell Robinson on the floor, then nobody's going to be able to get to the rim. If we have Cat on the floor and Wemby has to guard Cat, then he has to go guard him at a three-point line, which can open up driving lanes for Mikal Bridges to get downhill, for Jalen Brunson to get downhill. So there's a little bit of a cat and mouse game that needs to be played there with Mike Brown. But either way, Mitchell Robinson is not going to do a better job defending Wemby than Rudy Gobert did, or Chet Holmgren did, right? Like, I just don't see a world where that happens. You could make the argument that Mitchell Robinson's not as much of a soft little Charmin ultra soft bear pussy that Chet Holmgren is, and maybe there's an upgrade there. But either way, I don't see Mitchell Robinson containing Wemby better than Rudy or Chet did. And they didn't even do it. They didn't contain him. So I don't see that being the case here. Wemby's the best player in the NBA. He's going to solidify that after winning his first championship, his first Finals MVP, his first Defensive Player of the Year, his first All NBA team selection at just the age of 22 years old. Those are the top 10 players in the NBA Finals. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button.